today we're going to talk about short rows. So in this case, we are going to chat about German short rows, but first off, I wanted to tell you a little bit about why you are wanting to put German short rows in your item. So in this case, this pattern is Petite Knit No Frills Sweater, and it uses German short rows to raise the back of the neck and keep the front as a crew neck so it fits more comfortably on your neck, your back, and your shoulders. So what the German short rows are doing in the case of this pattern is you're going to be knitting around the back, and in this case around on the sleeves, and then you're going to see here as you get into your pattern how these rows seemingly quote-unquote dead end into the collar or the neckband, and that is where we're doing our turns and making our double stitch, which is the German short row. And what that's doing is adding more row depth around here, over the shoulders, and across the back, and not having that row depth added to the front of the garment. It allows it from, rather than being pulled up, it allows it to sit more comfortably so it doesn't feel like it's choking you off with this crew neck. So now that we've explained a little bit about why you want short rows, let's get into making the short rows. Okay, so now we're going to do our German short rows. So in your pattern, it will tell you to knit to a certain marker, knit to a certain number of stitches, something along those lines, depending on your pattern and how it's written. And so I'm just going to pick one, few more. Okay. And then it will tell you in your pattern to turn your work. Sometimes it will say turn and create double stitch. Sometimes it will just say turn, and then on the next row it will say create double stitch. First things first is you want to go ahead and turn your work. Then you want to slip that stitch that the yarn is coming from. Slip that, and then you want to create your double stitch. So you want to take that over the top of the needle and pull it around very, very tightly till you create the illusion of two stitches, because it's that one stitch that's pulled up super duper tight right there. And then you're going to purl like normal. So just real quick, that is your double stitch. So don't count that as two stitches, because when you turn it around and look at it this way, it's just one stitch. So if you have a marker handy, for your first time, it'd be a good idea to go ahead and mark the two legs as your double stitch, so you can find that later. So I'm just going to continue to purl across for a few more stitches. Now when I'm on the purl side, I do find it helpful to put my yarn in the back. Now it's at the front, and I can pull it over top and around the needle. If I left it in the back, it may twist that front stitch and let it be more visible when you rectify that at the end. So that's just a little tip that I like to do. And then you're going to knit. Obviously you can come back and put a marker here. I've done this enough times that I can recognize it, for especially not in dark yarn. If you're working with a darker yarn, definitely you always want to mark those double stitches, because they can be very hard to see, or in a very fuzzy yarn, or in a very textured yarn. So we're going to knit to 2 stitches before the double stitch, and then we're going to turn again. So we're going to turn, we're going to slip that stitch, bring the yarn back over the top and around, creating that double stitch, and then finish purling. I'm going to do this a couple more times so you can see it in action, and then also really see the look of the shaping that we're going to be giving to it. So you can see there's my double stitch, there's 2 stitches. So again, I'm just going to bring my yarn to the back or to the knit side of the work, slip that stitch and bring it over the top and back around to the back. And then knit. So now I'm 2 stitches away. So I'm going to turn one final time. I'm going to slip that stitch over top, creating that double stitch, and now I'm going to purl all the way. So see, there's my double stitch. I'm just going to insert as if I'm going to purl together, because that's basically what I'm doing, is purling the legs of that stitch together. Purl 2 more and do that again. So just so you can see, I'm making sure I grab both legs, not just one, not just this one, but both, and purling. And then I'll purl to the end, or it may be purl to beginning of round marker. There could be many different ways depending on how your pattern is written. And now I'm going to knit across, and then we're going to come to the double stitches on the knit side. And then I'm going to show you where those double stitches were. Okay, so there is my double stitch, you can see. So I'm going to insert my needle as if I'm knitting those 2 together. And then knit 2. Now if I just knit into this leg, I'm going to create a nice big hole because it's going to be as though it's a yarn over. And if I were to just somehow knit into this one, it's going to create a kind of a ugly little bar and a really loose stitch. So you don't want to do that. You want to go in and grab both legs and knit them together. As you can see here, we have that one we marked. So just pull the marker out of the way, knit together, and then knit to the end. And then you will have finished your short row shaping. And now you can see, I pull the needle out of the way, that we have a nice curved shape to our piece. So what that has done is, in this case, it would have raised the back, or if you're doing something like a shawl where you're doing short rows, it creates these lovely kind of wave pattern designs in your garment or your shawl. So the short rows, in case you want to see exactly where they were, there's one, there's another one, there's one, and there's one. You can barely tell, and the only way you can truly tell is that little bit of like extra fabric or extra yarn on the back, almost as though you knit 2 stitches together, which is what you did. So there's just a little tiny bit there, but in the most case, it is pretty invisible. Also, typically, these are again on the back side of your work, so they're hidden from plain view, or if they're on the front of your work, like we saw in this piece, they're butted right up against the collar, so they're really almost invisible. You can slightly tell there's a little something off right here. It's blended into the collar. Once this is blocked, you will never ever know, other than it sits really, really nicely along the collar and on your body. So I hope this has helped you out. If it has, I would appreciate a like and a thumbs up, and watch for the next tutorial. Have a great day, guys.